So the finish is on. I have masked this up again and I'm polishing the frets off. Doing it by hand at the show it's not quite as good as it could be, so with a little bit of extra time. In this case, instead of using a bench grinder with a polishing mop on it, I'm using a multi-tool with a felt polishing wheel and polishing compound. Works very well. Goggles. Don't forget the goggles. Half pencil on the top of the frets. And that gives me where the strings are going to be. Okay, so top mount. Okay, all right. It's nearly there. The neck, I don't like the feel of the satin finish on this. It's a little bit too grabby because it's not been smoothed down. I'm gonna rub that down a little bit. The action needs sorting out. The height of the nut is not quite there. The bridge is a little bit low actually. It wasn't made for this. I need to either raise the bridge up on a, I don't know, wedge of ebony or something like that, or potentially just have longer, longer grub screws. And obviously wiring, tune-o-matic, etc. But, I mean, we're pretty much there. It's amazing. 3-day project. What was supposed to be a 3-day project at a show has turned into 6 or 7. Does everything I touch have to double in length? Definitely needs a setup. Tomorrow. Hell yeah, I like this. And I'm back. It has been a fantastic weekend, during which I could really have used this guitar, but wiring, setup, all of these fun things. And then we will have a new guitar. We? Me. I will have a new guitar. I love my life. Before we go much further with anything, stretch the strings out. And that will mean when I actually finally get to setting it up, intonation and all that, I won't have to do it again. About to do the wiring, etc., but must not forget to shield the cavity. Crimson Guitars rear guard shielding paint. Protect your back cavity. McCavity. McCavity, McCavity. That's a good pun. I digress. Please forgive me. I'm trying to find my nut sorting files. They're supposed to be there. Found them. There we go. Come on then. Well, the shielding paint is curing. I'm going to finish setting up this bad boy. First of all, check the relief. This instrument is, for me, I like a relatively chunky action, so I've got a little bit of relief there. And I'm now going to, by eye, lower the strings down. That is a 46. Angle the nut file down a little bit so that when the string leaves the nut, it is at the highest point. And I want just a fraction of movement there if I'm holding it down at the 3rd fret. And then a little bit smaller gap as you go up the strings. So where are we? A little high, but not too high. And then I often feel the difference like that, and that tells me if it's a little bit more by feel than anything else, actually. Now, of course, if you're worried about going too low, or too deep, sorry, you could use one of these. So the Grew bars, which we sell at Crimson, and then essentially say, all right, fine, well, that's the height we want, for example, and wrong one, there we go. We don't want to go any deeper than that bar. Does make life a little bit easier. I did have it tuned before adjusting the nut, and the intonation is also roughly in. Roughly. That was a little bit off, a little bit worse off. So once the shielding paint is cured, I'm going to go in and put the rest of the wiring in, and then basically the guitar's done. That's the problem with good thick shielding paint. It does its job, but it takes a while to dry. So while we're here, I don't really like this finish on the neck. It's straight out of the gun, but it's just got a little bit too much texture for me, and it works really well as a flash coat on the instrument. Actually, you guys haven't seen much of the back, have you? I like it as much as I like the front. Look at that carve. Oh yes. Sorry. Anyway, let's fix this. So I've got some foam-backed 1200 grit paper here, and just here, I'm just going to take it back. And then this is it's not quite Scotch-Brite, but it's a similar material, ultra fine. I do not like wire wool. This is a soft wax that my wife makes, actually. And I like the feel of this neck, but I don't quite like the matte look. So there we go, a much smoother finish, and you can actually see what's going on in the Shisugi band wood underneath, and I am going to find that much more comfortable. Okay, I'm very lucky in that I asked Sam downstairs to do a wiring loom for me, and this is pre-prepared. I don't have to do any soldering basically at all, except getting the pickups in, and yeah, and that. So yeah, this is not a wiring tutorial. All right, let's check this out. Do we have? Haha! We have life. So once we have the guitar wired up, we can go into a proper tuner and sort out the intonation. So that note is low, which means we need to make that a bit longer. So if when you tune the string, fret at the 12th fret, and if that fretted note is low, you need to shorten the string by letting out the saddle. If that note at the 12th fret, if you fret it, if that is high, you need to make the string length longer by tightening and pulling the saddle back. So that note is low when I fret it, so I need to shorten the string length by releasing the saddle. So I've raised the height of these saddles a little bit higher than the bridge was designed for, and that's affected the nominal string length. We have a guitar. Neck feels good. The tuning is not quite stable yet. Pickups are all right. They're not. We haven't handmade these. These are just quick ones we bought in. But it's surprising how good you can get. How good budget pickups are these days. The grounding is somewhat, or the shielding is somewhat. I'm in a room with all sorts of different bits and pieces. We have a great big hole. Those eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed that I didn't put the earth from the bridge initially. I have now done that. But yes, that was an oversight on my part. It turns out that while isotunes are fantastic, it can get somewhat distracting listening to a novel while also building a guitar. You should have a modicum of, shall we say, concentration when you're doing things like this. So maybe I should stick to listen to music rather than books or podcasts. But yeah. I need to play around with the action. There's a little bit of buzz. I need to play this in. And that was not a scale of any sort, that was an atrocity. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. You guys are fantastic. I've had a total blast. This build has taken a good week or so longer than it was supposed to, but I've ended up with something a little bit more than a kit guitar, and that is the whole point of this entire exercise. You can take a kit, you can take one of our kits and just go absolutely insane and see what happens. This finish, I love it. I absolutely love it. It wasn't what I had planned when I started the guitar. The holes didn't work out as I'd expected, and I drilled more, and suddenly it's what I wanted, what I could see. I've got the perfect neck. The neck shape was stunning straight off. The all access, the comfort carves, everything that I need in a guitar I've got here. At some point I might well swap the pickups out for something that is tailored a little bit more to my tastes. But that's the beauty of one of these instruments. You can do whatever the hell you want. And I have. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out our Patreon. That helps keep the lights on here. And follow us on Instagram at Crimson Guitars, because this entire thing was followed through on the stories and behind the scenes stuff. Thanks again. See you soon. Well, there's nothing for it. I'm going to have to break this in. Goodbye. And make a switch tip. Find a switch tip. They gave me a Strat switch tip with a Teddy switch. Can't just, you know.